What's going on, family? How y'all doing? My name is Sekou.
And this is Baytash.
And it's your boy Yusuf Sadiq.
And welcome to our podcast, Preliminary Thoughts, Episode 3. Oh my goodness. Just when you think life is just going smoothly, comes back, gives you a backhand slap of reality. Lord have mercy. Oh my goodness. But
yeah, we're recording this a little bit late. We're a little tired. We had a long day. But we're going to try to summarize what's been going on for like the last week. Has it been a week? It's been about a week.
I would say about a week. I would say about a week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's crazy.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It's been it's been a week. It's been completely insane, man. What's been going on, and we gotta talk about it. Let's get into it.
Let's get to it. So today, our podcast today is on a few topics, but we're gonna begin with our now new mayor, Eric Adams. Oh man, we about to dig in. So, Eric Adams on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2022, he was sworn in as our 110th mayor of New York City. I'm going to repeat it again. Mayor Eric Adams, was sworn in on New Year's Day this year as our 110th mayor of New York City. He was born on September 1st, 1960. He served as an officer in the New York City Transit Police and then the New York City Police Department for over 20 years. And he retired as a top-rank captain. He served in the New York State Senate from 2006 to 2013. He represented the 28th Senate District in Brooklyn. In November of 2013, he was elected as Brooklyn Borough President. He was reelected in 2017 and was the first African American to hold the position of Brooklyn Borough President. And on November 17th of 2020, he announced his candidacy for being mayor, and he won his candidacy and was elected as mayor New Year's of this year. So that's just a little bit of a background of who Eric Adams is and, what he's about, his history, 20 years in the police force, and everything of that sort. So now, fast forward 2022. He's not our mayor. Let's get into some of the things he has already encountered that we have already caught him pretty much doing in just 17 days. Mm-hmm. Can you believe that? 17 days.
Oh my God, man! Like, it's only been 2 weeks and change, and this man's already showing us who he is, man. Like, if you look into Eric Adams' history on the force and everything, so like he was part of this group of black police officers whose goal was to fight for criminal justice reform within the force. So, and he was against racial profiling and things of that nature, in the 90s when he was a police officer. You fast forward to 2022, and what's this guy doing? He's advocating to bring back a policy that's proven to target black boys and men. He's advocating for bringing back stop and frisk. He's an advocate for that. He said we're gonna do it in a way that doesn't violate people's rights. How you gonna do that when the policy itself is a violation of people's rights?
That's a fact.
It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? And his police commissioner, who he hired recently, is Keechan Sewell. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing her last name right, but I don't really care. But yeah, she's also one of those people that's advocating for stop and frisk as a way to reduce crime in New York. But we know stop and frisk doesn't work. They tried it before. It didn't work then, and it's not gonna work now. The true way to combat crime is to combat poverty. Let's get rid of poverty, and that's how we get rid of crime.
It's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? But we have a mayor here who doesn't really have a plan to really address poverty in New York.
And if you don't address poverty, crime is going to increase. And as in the future, we'll definitely highlight in many of our episodes, we hope to, you'll see a clear pattern that historically any group that has ever existed in which you find poverty, you will find crime. Because through poverty, there's desperation. Through poverty, you don't think things straight. Through poverty, your ability to process situations is little to none. So unless you address that, as my brother Yusuf beautifully mentioned, there's no way stop and frisk is going to solve anything.
Case in point, man, case in point, District 15 of the Bronx, my district, Congressional District 15 of the Bronx, my district, the district that me and Sekou and Betsa's all live in. We have some of the highest crime rates in the Bronx. You know what percentage of the Bronx lives in of this district lives in extreme poverty? 34%. 34% of this district lives in extreme poverty, and you could look this up on the Census Bureau's website on their statistics for Congressional District 15 on 2019. 34% of District 15 lives in extreme poverty. So how you gonna say? And that's the reason why, crime is, the crime rates are so high here, because everybody poor. You know what I'm saying? Like, median income per capita out here is $17,731. What you think is gonna what you think a person who could barely afford his rent is gonna do and can't get a job is gonna do to survive? They're gonna commit crimes to be able to, get that money and support themselves, you know what I'm saying? And put food on the table.
And to top that, our own brother Betash actually wrote an entire essay on this very topic. We'll be posting the link, on our YouTube description. He wrote an entire essay on this. I want everyone who's listening to this right now to please read his essay. Because if you read his essay, everything that me and Yusuf are saying and scholars have been saying is a direct reflection of his essay. It's academic genius. So I encourage every single one of you guys to please read his essay on this very topic of police and their history.
Yeah, I mean, it's originally I had wanted to make it longer, but I was at the time. When did I write it? I think it was at the beginning of 2019. I don't even remember, but it was it was like 2 years ago or so, and it was just because I saw De Blasio had he made a comment because one of the police officers that aided Justin Volpe, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, but I also don't care.
We don't.
Him and a group of his other cop
constituents,
right, his partners, sodomized this black man in a bathroom in the precinct where they had brought him. I believe it was in Brooklyn. And so it was more so an essay about like the homosexual rape that happens at the hands of heterosexual white men, particularly when it deals with black males. Strangely enough, but if you know a lot about history, it fits in with a lot of things, and so I just tried to mention a few things there. I cited Dr. Tommy Curry because he really helped me understand a lot of things that I wasn't understanding. Back in like 2017, his book came out, The Man Not, and that just I cited his work because he's just brought so much to the topic. But yeah, so like my essay was focused more on that, but of course I had to talk about stop and frisk, and I had to talk about how stop and frisk creates the environment, even without it, police are still able to commit these crimes.
Exactly.
But stop and frisk is often where black males are sexually assaulted or touched in the wrong way, or they're exposed and things like that. And cops of all sexual preferences have done this to them. So I go into a little bit more in the essay, but the point is that all of these issues, whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's just simply racial profiling, all of this has been exposed over many years now. Scholars, activists, regular everyday people, everybody knows this. This is common sense. This is nothing new. It's nothing difficult. And yet our new mayor is completely avoiding every single point that everybody already knows goes on with stop and frisk. And he's supporting it. He's claiming it's going to be different. It's not. But of course, white supremacy is now going to put somebody that's not white in power, that believes the same white supremacist talking points. Maybe not white supremacists, I should say, but he's supporting that system by protecting these policies that again have already been exposed, already have been proven to be inadequate to what they're supposedly supposed to be doing. Too many human rights violations by the police, white supremacy within the police force, and none of the mayors have done anything about it. And as I stated in my essay, future mayors would do absolutely nothing about it. And as we sit here now, probably 3 years since I wrote the essay, once again, the mayors are doing nothing. This one is supporting police, wants to protect police, says little meaningless things that sound like he's going to do something about racial profiling. But once again, these politicians are not focusing on white supremacy. They're not focusing on racism. And likely we are just going to get another administration that's going to do absolutely nothing. The presidential administration, the president and the vice president have said nothing but BS, nothing but just empty sentences, empty statements, have done absolutely nothing. And the one little thing that still wasn't even going to do anything for black people and their relationships with the police, the George Floyd Act, is dead, basically. It's not moving. It hasn't passed. And members of the Democratic Party are trying to gut it of any actual effectiveness that it could have possibly had. So here we are again. And our mayor, current now new mayor, is also going to do absolutely nothing about it. And I don't care if he's only been in here for less than a month. I already know. And I will stick to that. And I will sit back and watch. And I want him and everybody around him to prove me wrong. I dare you.
We dare you to prove us wrong.
We triple double dog dare you. Even though that don't make no sense,
Oh,
but
man.
y'all know what I'm talking about.
Y'all do. We dare y'all to prove us wrong. And if y'all do, we'll be happy. We'll honestly be happy.
Absolutely.
And if y'all don't,
well, then what are we going to do? What's the next step?
what's the next step? So, Betash, thank you for that. That was powerful. So that's just stop and frisk. Oh, man. Y'all think this
He
is
didn't
the
even
end?
stop there. He couldn't even just stop there. That is already bad enough. He had to keep going.
We just getting started, guys. Listen up. So, we get news that Eric Adams appoints his own brother as deputy police commissioner of the city's Police Department. Can you believe this? Eric Adams has chosen his own brother, Bernard Adams. Do you recognize the connection? They're both last names Adams. I mean, sometimes there could be a coincidence with the last names, but this one is no coincidence. This is his brother, blood brother. He hires his own blood brother to be deputy police commissioner of the city's police department. You know what my thoughts are on this? This man understands that he can disrespect, he can dishonor, he can do whatever he wants, and there's not a single thing this city can do about it. They know they can get away with this, which is why they're doing it. He knows that if I hire my brother, who's gonna do what? They're not gonna be enraged, and even if they are enraged, they're gonna vote for the less. I'm the lesser of the two evils.
And we already know that's BS.
I'm the lesser of two evils, so they're gonna grant me some grace. This is exactly why he was able, and people of his caliber will be able to continue to do things like this. They won't stop. You know what I'm saying?
And you see tweets all over the place. I mean, I was following I saw a tweet the other day by the account Decolonize This Place, and they put up a tweet by Michael Gold. And this man, Michael Gold, said, "The man Eric Adams put in charge of NYC jails fired the department's top internal investigator. The investigator says he asked her to get rid of 2,000 discipline cases against corrections officers, and she resisted." So, you could look all around and find little things that are going on with the mayor. Not to mention that right now there's a massive hunger strike going on at Rikers Island because of the deplorable conditions that are going on. And of course, well, because of the fire and all the things that are going on, I haven't really followed that story up until this point. After this episode today, I'm going to look into those details. But last I checked, Eric Adams hasn't said nothing about it, nor have the DAs.
I haven't heard anything.
So, it's not looking good.
So, when it comes to Eric Adams, hiring his brother, well, let's not forget that, people who are in that position make an average of like $242,000 a year. Let's not forget that. It's not surprising that he did that. It's a clear, conflict of interest. It's a clear conflict of interest. It's obviously nepotism. But what he's doing is the oldest trick in the book. Get someone in there who you could control, who you could have complete control over, so you could basically do whatever you want. He wants to be able to do whatever he wants without having any type of opposition or without having to be held accountable. That's why I think he hired his brother.
Yeah, it's true.
It's very true, and you have no business hiring your brother in positions like this. You should think about the first thing that Eric Adams should have thought about is, look, the public is gonna think about me, they're gonna be like, it's nepotism, right? I'm hiring
something, right?
You're
gonna say something about that.
But you see, this is what I'm trying to tell y'all, and I want y'all to listen to me very carefully. When you don't respect people, when you don't respect the community, right? The rules in which you are bound by, there is none. You'll do anything. This is what people don't understand. It's not about the fact that you have to understand the thought process behind why he hired his brother. He knows he's going to get away with it. He's like, yo, I could do what I want. What y'all gonna do?
But see, that's the issue with voting for the lesser of two evils and, just voting for Democrats just because you think you don't want to vote for a Republican, or you didn't want to keep Trump in office, like, yeah, like those guys aren't great either, but the Democrats are absolutely no different, regardless of whether you want to accept that or not. That's the actual fact. So, um, even if he didn't, you know, hire his brother, and Seku's point is a good one. But even if he didn't do that, this man already out the gate is protecting the police, and all the issues that exist within that institution are not even being addressed outside the gate, which means nothing is going to change about it. So either way, it doesn't look good from the start. But yes, doing something like that so early and so blatant, it shows that he doesn't care, and he knows he can get away with it, as Sekou said. And that's the issue with people that refuse to withhold their votes. Because, once these people get in office, regardless of what, that's it, it's over. They don't have to help you. They're going to say what they want. They're going to do whatever they want. They're going to dance around it, all of their administration. Because once you vote them into office, it's over. It's over.
And here's the thing, like, everybody always talking about, oh, we gotta get the lesser of two evils. The thing is, the lesser of two evils is still evil. Like,
Oh man.
the lesser of two evils is still evil. Why would you want somebody who you know is gonna campaign to destroy your community, who you know is gonna protect, police in their cases, in the police brutality cases? You know he's gonna support state sanctioned violence against black boys and men. You know they're gonna do it. Why would you support that type of person? And here's the thing, and here's the double standard about it. Like, I remember when word got out that Trump was hiring his daughter. What's her name? Ivanka.
Ivanka Trump.
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah.
No, wasn't
Was it Ivanka?
I think it's Ivanka. It's Ivanka.
No, that's one of his wives.
Nah,
That's
Melania is his wife. His daughter's
his
Ivanka.
other
His
wife.
other wife. There was a
There's another.
Nah, his daughter's Ivanka, bro.
Ivanka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ivanka. I mean,
Look, it don't matter. It don't
bro,
matter. His daughter. Period.
bro, their names are weird as hell. But,
Exactly,
You know what I'm
you know what I'm
saying?
saying?
Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's a good point.
if you were outraged that Trump hired his daughter, you should be outraged that Eric Adams is hiring his brother. It's the same exact thing.
Don't be a
No
hypocrite.
difference. Unfortunately, a lot of people are hypocritical when it comes to the Democratic Party. They can't see straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody out here with their Trump derangement syndrome. Republicans are bad. Republicans are fascists. They're going to take away my right to vote.
Oh my God.
Like, if you pay attention to the Democrats and the way they vote in the Senate and how they coordinate their vote, they always, if you pay attention, they always lose by one vote. What does that show you? But y'all got Trump derangement syndrome, so y'all don't wanna vote Democratic down ballot. Y'all don't wanna withhold y'all vote. Talking about lesser of two evils. The lesser of two evils is still evil.
Period.
Remember
Somebody wanted to go and I'll end with this. I remember a brother told me, "Oh, you have to vote for Trump. I mean, you have to vote for Biden. Because Trump is so horrible, and look what he's doing. He's gonna turn the whole world upside down, dude.
What?
The Democrats have been doing that since their beginning. They've been turning the whole entire world upside down since their very beginning. What are you talking about, brother?
Like, they work hand in hand with the Republicans, like, basically on many levels. And like, you're talking about a Trump regime,
The world ending?
ADOS people, descendants of freedmen, descendants of chattel slavery in this country, they have been living under a quote-unquote Trump regime since the Democratic Party came into being in 1828. Okay, everybody's so concerned about fascism, and they're so concerned about this, that, and the other thing. That's African Americans' life here since before everybody else got here.
All of the immigrants.
Before any
Everybody.
of our families got here, they've been living through that. Now you have a problem with it? Nah. I think you don't know history.
So we got the stop and frisk, nepotism, right in front of us, blatant nepotism. But we're still not done. We about halfway. You guys won't believe what he did again.
It's only been 2 weeks, by the way. Only 2 weeks.
Imagine them. I can't wait to see what a month will tell. Lord. But Eric Adams, 2 weeks ago, I would say a little less than 2 weeks ago, he was caught making comments about low-wage workers. Oh, man.
Yeah, he couldn't help himself. He just kept
could not help. Like, I've never seen a leader in my young life. I think he's at the top of my list. I've never seen a leader.
He's definitely more in our face, especially for your generation and stuff. And of course, being the mayor, he's more like, you're gonna see him involved in stuff, supposedly.
Like, where's your, like, at least hide it a little bit.
No, that's how you could tell how deep they are in it. When they can't even hold back, when it's just back to back stuff like this, we're in for it. He's gonna be a piece of work.
Man. But anyways, Eric Adams, according to Pix 11 News, Eric Adams has been New York City. Even Pix 11 mentions this. Can y'all believe that? Pix 11 mentioned it. They said Eric Adams has been New York City's mayor for less than a week. Oh my God. Eric Adams has been New York City's mayor for less than a week, but he's already found himself the target of online scrutiny over comments he made at a press conference Tuesday. He said, and I quote, this is what Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, those who voted for him and said he was the lesser of two evils, look at what he said. He said, and I quote, my low-skilled workers, my cooks, my dishwashers, my messengers, my shoe shine people, those who work at Dunkin' Donuts, they don't have academic skills to sit in a corner office.
Oh my God.
Adams said as he signed the new Small Business Forward executive order to reform existing business regulations. I'm not even gonna comment. Betash and Yusuf, y'all can go ahead.
You wanna
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my
feeds it to
good.
you. Like, you don't even gotta look far.
Lord.
Mind you, when did he make this comment? Just less than a week into his.
Yeah.
It said less than a week into his mayor candidacy. Did him becoming mayor.
Oh my God. First off, these quote unquote low skilled workers, they the backbone of New York City.
Period.
They keep New York City running. You go to the deli, you want to get yourself a bacon, egg, and cheese. Who's in there? And also, like, all these people that he's talking about, these restaurant workers, Dunkin' Donuts, the baristas at Starbucks. You know how many of those people are college educated? I personally know people who have some college education that are working at Starbucks.
Right.
There are people with bachelor's degrees working in these quote-unquote low-skill jobs because they can't get no jobs in their field. Who is he to say, oh, they don't have the skills to work in corporate or to work these corner office jobs?
Who are you, Eric Adams?
Some of these people are more educated than he is. Let's be truthful. Also, these office jobs are not even hard. A high school kid could do these jobs. It's not like they're doing like any hard things, like secretaries, like what I'm saying, like they're recording stuff and everything. If you train a high school kid, they'll be able to do this stuff
Easy.
Like, working in corporate does not make you competent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These quote unquote low skill workers, I promise you, are more competent than most people that work in corporate. I promise you. Because these people have to deal with so many conflicts in their jobs. And they always have to, de-escalate the situation. You mess up, you fired. But corporate, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna say is lenient, but definitely you definitely don't have to deal with the amount of stress that these quote unquote low skill workers are dealing with on a daily basis at their work.
They have the
Definitely not.
hardest jobs in the world.
And even the stress and the complexity of different jobs aside, of course, this mayor and all mayors, as they have, completely disregard, like Yusuf said, the system. These people aren't in these jobs because they have low skill sets. They're in these jobs often for other reasons, but also because going to school and getting good grades and getting degrees does not guarantee you a job. You can't even get the skills, and even when you get the skills, you can't even get guaranteed a job. There's various reasons which we're not going to get into right now. We'll talk about. But again, these people are avoiding talking about the issues with the system and once again using paternalism to blame these workers in order to avoid their complicity and the system that they work for and the system that they're doing nothing about changing.
That's a fact.
So, of course, you want to blame the workers. But, Eric Adams also recently proved once again that he's not above blaming victims. And we all know this because he blamed the victims of the fire that killed 19 people on 181st Street in the Bronx on, January 9th?
I believe, yeah, it was January 9th.
Right.
It was about a week in a day, last Sunday. Mm-hmm.
And once again, that's a systemic problem. One which, of course, he's very closely tied to, that the Democrats that run the city are very closely tied to. And that's probably a good time for us to get into the topic of the fire.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, I want to say, my sincere condolences to the families that were affected by the fire. I pray that God has mercy on all of them and, protects them always. And I pray that, God also protects and aids their families.
Amen.
And, what happened to them, me and Yusuf, we were born and raised, we were born here in America, the United States of America. But, we are children of, first generation immigrants who came from the Gambia, a country in West Africa. Beautiful and small but beautiful country in West Africa. And unfortunately, many of those who succumbed, who passed away, were from the Gambian community. Now, I do want to clarify, there weren't only people from the Gambian community. There were people from other communities who passed away. In particular, I believe Guinea and Mali, whom they are our brothers in West Africa, without a doubt. And, those, as well as the fact that those who were affected by the fire were of different races as well, right? Were of different groups of people, right? We had Hispanics that were affected. My condolences to their family. We had, ADOS people who were affected and Caribbeans who were affected in that building. My prayers out to their families as well. So this fire was a very sad one, but it wasn't. This isn't new, and I think it has to be understood that this isn't new at all. What happened on January 9th, 2022 of this year is symptomatic of an ongoing problem that has been happening in predominantly poverty-stricken communities. What's ironic is that I have an article right now, right in front of me, in which it says that the very Bronx building that burnt down on 333 East 181st Street was noted for serious safety issues dating back from 1986. Lord have mercy.
Oh my God.
So from this building, I wasn't, me and Yusuf weren't alive in 1986.
I
That's-
was like 3 years
And
old.
he was like,
That's-
and Big Bro
that's-
Betas was
bro.
probably like 3.
Bro, nobody even thought of us, bro. That's 10 years before us, bro.
But you see how systemic all of this is. And I'm just so curious how much all of the Democrats, all the Republicans that ran the city from then till now, what was done? Look, the same exact building on top of all the other buildings for decades that were burning and burning and burning. This place was a wasteland even before I was born. So clearly you could see the neglect continues. Don't let the facades fool you.
And so can you, I want you guys to picture this for a second. 1986, 2022. From 1986 to 2022, that's 36 years. If my math is correct, 36 years, not a single. This is almost half a century. Almost. 14 years removed from half a century. Same exact thing. And one thing I want to say is that it was originally reported that 19 people died. But actually, it was confirmed later that 17 people died. And there's still families, there's still victims in the hospital who are in comas, who are still recovering from this fire. Now, I want to read bits of this article in order for us to go forward. It's important sometimes to go a little back and then go forward. So the New York Post, can you believe the New York Post is posting this? One of the most racist news articles to ever exist, period. As a news outlet, sorry. It says, the Bronx high-rise where 17 people died in a massive blaze Sunday was also the site of a smoky 1986 fire that exposed several building challenges for firefighters and serious safety lapses by bravest at the time. The compactor fire at 331 East 181st Street on March 2nd, 1986 was initially handled routinely as a report of a smoke condition, according to an article in WNYF magazine, the department's training publication later that year. But as the situation evolved, heavy smoke engulfed the 19-story building's upper floors, prompting some tenants to dangle from their windows. I'm going to repeat that again. Prompting some tenants to dangle from windows and firefighters running for refuge. Lord have mercy. If firefighters were running for refuge, what about the tenants?
They're gonna die. No doubt.
And this was, look, 1986. In 1986, as Yusuf said, I wasn't even a thought. We weren't even thought of. And our big brother here, Betash, he was probably only 2-3 years old. Didn't know a thing in this world. The last paragraph I want to read is, they say the building, familiar to firefighters, is thought of as a typical housing project where the report of smoke on one floor or another is handled routinely using the department's standard operating procedures, the report said. However, if firefighting, nothing is routine on this day once again. Murphy's Law reared its ugly head, the article said. So now, that was 86. Let's fast forward to 2022. Part of the reason why we're here again today is because I'm pretty sure the mayor during that time blamed the victims and said, oh, it's not really our fault, they may have left the stove on or whatever may have you, of course. The compactor, as they said in the article. And as a result, here we are, 2022, back at square one. But we're exactly back at square one because look at what Eric Adams said. He blames the victims for the fire. And the way in which he does it is very strategic. Instead of saying, why didn't the landlord or why didn't the building's owner turn on the heat, he instead shifted the focus to the fact that it was a space heater that caused it and he left the door open. Can y'all believe that?
I mean, I can. I can definitely believe that he did that. Come on, man. It's standard procedure with these politicians, man. When in doubt, blame everybody else. We're never our fault. You know what I'm saying? But it's only when they're put on the spotlight and this is what upset me when yesterday when all these politicians was talking and they were talking about, oh, this fire was caused by government neglect. What are you talking about? You are the government. You are the government. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing that, and I say this all the time, right? You cannot treat a disease by treating the symptoms. You have to treat the cause. If you only treat the symptoms may go away. It's possible that they may go away, but there's only going to be two outcomes from that. Either they're going to come back or they're going to come back worse.
It's a fact.
That's how these things work. And just look at what the article that Sekou just read for us. This same building was burnt down in 1986. At that time, most of me and Sekou, again, we're first generation, African Americans. We are the children of immigrants who were born in the divided states of embarrassment. So at that time, most of our parents were not here, and those who were, they were just arriving. So I say this to say that some of the things that and this is just an example of us just now going through what the ADOS community has been going through for centuries. Which is why it's very important for us to support our ADOS brothers and sisters in their fight for reparations. Hashtag reparations for ADOS. Hashtag reparations now.
Full support.
And here's the thing, man. You got all these politicians out here, using this tragedy as a photo op. You got Richie Torres out here, talking about, oh, we're going to have these heat sensors and all that. What are you doing to hold these people accountable? You know what I'm saying? Come to figure out that he's being funded by those same landlords. Come to figure out that one of the landlords of that same building, one of the people who own that building, is on Eric Adams' transition team.
Oh my God.
So of course, Eric Adams is not going to do anything to put his mans on the spot. He's not going to tell them, yo, why is it that this building had 174 open violations that you didn't take care of?
Ooh.
Wait, did you say, whoa.
You remember.
147 violations?
Nah, not 147, 174. Oh. 174 open violations in that building.
And it's open, is on the internet. People were posting it all over the place. They had screenshots of the list of violations.
And let me tell you what it means when the violation is open. That means that problem has not been solved.
Facts.
It has not been investigated. It's still there. 174. The city did nothing to force these people to look into these violations and solve these problems. 10 complaints about heat in December alone. You think those people are not gonna are not gonna use space heaters. Like in New York City cold, like in the winter in New York City cold. New York City cold is murderous, man. You think they're not gonna use space heaters? And then you look at the fact that that building doesn't even have any fire escapes.
Sprinkler systems weren't working.
And none of it was working. And then you have I personally called Vanessa Gibson's office a few days after the fire happened, and I was asking them like what we gonna do to hold the landlords accountable. The lady who I spoke with, I believe her name was Katie. I'm not completely sure. I don't completely, I don't have complete recollection of what her name was, but I spoke with her and she got short with me. She cut me off, like when I was talking. She asked me. She said, "Oh, did you call yesterday? Cause somebody called me yesterday trying to give out." I said, "Nah, I didn't call yesterday." I'm calling right now to ask you, what are we gonna do to hold these landlords accountable for the for withholding heat from their tenants, which is illegal, by the way. It's completely illegal. And for not taking care of the 174 violations in that building. And even before that, when I was talking about the building, she cut me off and started blaming the victims. She said, "Oh, the fire that was caused by the people that was using space heaters." Nah, that fire was not caused by space heaters. Mm-hmm. That fire was caused because the landlords withheld heat from their tenants, which resulted in the deaths of 17 people. I personally saw 15 caskets. I was inside the masjid helping, bring the caskets in for the funeral prayer. 17 people dead in our community. Multiple people injured inside the hospital. Multiple families displaced. When are we going to wake up, man? When are we going to wake up?
I had a conversation on, it was on Saturday. I had a conversation with one of the mothers. None of her family members died, thank God. But they were displaced because they can't live in their apartments. Their apartment was deemed inhabitable. You know what this mother told me? She came to our center, the Islamic center, called Masjid Saqafi. And that center, as well as GYO and a few others, Monroe College, they are centers currently that are helping out these victims. With food, toiletries, snacks, clothes, and everything of that sort. So this lady walked in, and we had a sister as well as myself, kind of like guiding her. Okay, this is what we have, etc. So as we got to the end of the, towards the end of the room where the snacks were, we were adding some stuff into her bag, and you know what she told me? She said, No, don't add this, please. And we said, why? She said, my hotel room is too small. My hotel room is too small. This stuff is not even going to fit in my hotel. My kids have to sleep on the floor. So we're like, time out. How many people in the hotel? And she's like, it's 4 of them in one hotel. I'm like, it's 4 of y'all? So I'm like, okay. I play devil's advocate a little bit. I'm like, why don't you put it under the bed? She's like, brother, there's no room. This is sad.
And who's placing them in the hotels? The city?
The city is placing them in these hotels. It's the city. It's by every right that the city has to make sure that these individuals are taken care of. There's no way 4 people are supposed to be living in one place. No.
A single room.
In a single room, sorry. There's no way. Hotel room. there's just no way. You know? So, all in all of what we're trying to say is this fire is, just really a sign of a continuous systemic level of oppression that we've been seeing for centuries. And as Yusuf mentioned, it first started off with our ADOS brothers and sisters. They suffered worse. And that's not to take away from the tragedy, but these are the same things that they went through that now, sadly, the African community is also going through. Mm-hmm. We must take a stand. We must help each other. Our beloved prophet, as Muslims, we believe, right? Me and Yusuf, right? We believe in this, and I'm pretty sure Betas also believes 100%. Mm-hmm. Our prophet said, "Love for your brother what you would love for yourself." He said, Yusuf, am I wrong? This is what our prophet said, right?
Absolutely. That's a completely authentic hadith, and another authentic.
And a hadith is is basically,
prophetic traditions, sayings and actions of our prophet, because we were ordered to emulate him as much as possible. Another hadith says that a community is like a body. When one body part hurts, you feel it in your whole body. That's why we gotta support and help each other. We need to stop this foolishness that a lot of my generation in particular, and the millennials and Generation Z, that this foolishness, this foolish idea that they have that I'm gonna stay out of politics. I don't like politics. Because, politicians are liars. True, most politicians are absolutely liars. I want to say 99.99% of politicians are complete liars and hypocrites. That does not mean you have to be apolitical. You know what's killing us? And you know what's going to kill the next generation? Our generation is a bunch of self-centered, self-absorbed, apolitical fools who think posting Black Lives Matter on Instagram and on Facebook and on Twitter is going to affect any type of change. We're doing so much by us staying out of politics, by us letting these politicians run amok and letting them do whatever they want without, any type of accountability, without, calling them out on their BS, calling them out on their nonsense. We are creating these conditions for the next generation, who are now going to suffer worse than we did, because we didn't clean up our mess. We can't be apolitical anymore. We can't do that. You can't just look at a Democrat because, CNN said I gotta vote for Democrats. They're better than Republicans. They're the lesser of two evils, so I'm gonna vote them. You can't do that. We cannot fall for the identity politics anymore. We can't do that. We can't vote for someone just because they're black. We can't vote for someone just because they're a woman. We cannot vote for someone just because they are gay. We cannot vote for someone just because they are from a particular group. No, we can't do that. We need to vote for policies. What is this person's agenda? Is this man's agenda going to help or destroy my community? Or are they going to neglect us altogether? If they don't have an agenda that's going to help your community, do not vote for them.
Period.
We have to learn to weaponize our vote. As Yvette Carnell always says, voting is an exchange.
Not a gift.
It's an exchange. I give you my vote so you could give me policy that's going to help my community. That's going to help the next generation. But, we just vote for people and put them in office just because. So, and in reference to that, like 89% of black men voted for Joe Biden in this past election. 91% of black women voted for Joe Biden in this last election. What just show me one executive order he signed specifically for black Americans. Black
Please.
Americans, descendants of slaves, and also black Americans at large.
Please, if anyone has it, please send it over.
I'll wait.
We want to see, please.
I'll wait. The answer is nothing. He ain't signed nothing. In fact, all of the things that everybody was hating on Donald Trump for doing, Joe Biden was doing himself. Y'all know that wall that y'all was, crying about? Oh, Trump is trying to build a wall. Guess what happened? Biden, once he took office, guess what he was doing? He was seizing people's property along the border to continue building that wall.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Y'all was all crying, oh, Trump is putting kids in cages. Guess who built those cages? Barack Obama built those cages. And guess who was continuing to put those kids in cages? Joe Biden.
Joseph R. Biden.
And top cop Kamala Harris.
Uh-oh.
Guess who had a plan to lock up Haitian immigrants at the border in Guantanamo Bay? Y'all know what Guantanamo Bay is? That's a facility that was built by the Bush administration to torture Muslims who they suspect of being who they profiled and suspected of being terrorists in the during the war on terror. Imagine whatchamacallit? Like, yo, they use this cell to torture people, or torture cell basically. Black immigrants, they putting them in torture cells. But y'all voted for this man. Y'all voted for him. And then I seen some of y'all, on social media talking about, oh, Joe Biden, we want Donald Trump back. Joe Biden isn't doing a good job. Nah, you voted for that man. Nah, you voted for that man. You deserve and you get the politics you engage in. That's what it is.
And you see, well, I mean, all your points were very accurate. But when you said the thing about, people not wanting to get involved in politics because politicians are liars. Well, so they're a liar. You vote for them anyway, or just because, you were conditioned to be afraid of their opponent. But okay, fine. Let's just say that. So you still voted for somebody that's a politician, which means you voted for somebody that is a liar. And you voted and you thought that was the only thing you had to do. But you just voted for a liar. Let's repeat that. You just voted for a liar because you said yourself, politicians are liars. So why did you vote for a right-wing white supremacist like Joe Biden if you know he's a liar? That's fine. You're afraid of Trump. Cool. So, but you know that Joe Biden is a liar, right? You said all politicians are liars. So I'm using the same logic that everyone's using. So you think all politicians are liars. You don't want to get involved in politics, but you voted for a politician and you voted him in as president. So you voted for somebody that you said you think is a liar. So now you voted for him. Okay. So what are you doing about it? So you just voted for a liar, but you're doing absolutely nothing to challenge this person to uphold all the things that they said to get into office. And you know why they lie? Because once they're in office, they don't have to do nothing they said. Nothing. So I repeated and repeated and repeated this because, everyone is not using logic. Or are they? Or do you know that you did something wrong? And you just went with everybody else because you don't know what else to do. And here we are again. So what are we doing? How many times are we going to go through this? How many of our friends and our communities and Black Americans at large, the ones whose ancestors built this country, our Black immigrant friends and brothers and sisters, how many more have to die and be tortured and be oppressed for entertainment for everybody else? Because we see it every day. in order for you to do something different. What different things are we doing? Because if you don't want to participate in politics because they're all liars, then why are you voting for a liar and then doing nothing about it to follow up? See, this isn't going to work anymore. So it's time for something a little bit different. And it's going to require people to pay attention and to learn more and to be involved in other things. Like, now it's too late. Now you have this new mayor in office who is going to continue to support police racially profiling black males. And God knows what else is going to come with it. So here we are again.
I want to make one thing clear, like, about Joe Biden that people need to understand. Joe Biden, and I need y'all to listen to me clearly. Joe Biden is a more competent Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Actually, I would even say some of the times he's even less. Because I look back at videos of Trump, and even though he just said dumb stuff all the time, he actually spoke more clearly and coherently than Biden does half the time.
So what I mean by when I say Joe Biden is a more competent Trump is he's a more competent white supremacist than Trump. Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing. Trump's presidency exposed a lot of the things in the American in the system that does not work. Trump's presidency exposed the system. Everybody was in an uproar. Joe Biden is doing everything that Trump did. Why is it that no one's talking? Because Joe Biden lulled everybody to sleep because he's a Democrat, and that's what they do. So in that sense, they all had the same goal. Destroy black communities, especially ADOS communities. Destroy ADOS communities. Make sure that ADOS remains the slave caste. Joe Biden is doing a better job than Trump at that, because he's a Democrat, and everybody buddy with the Democrats. You know what I'm saying? They sold everybody the story that Republicans are the boogeyman, and we let that happen. You know what I'm saying? We're so indoctrinated that a lot of us believe that Democrats are better than Republicans, when in all truth, they're just two sides to the same coin. And as my big bro Gareth Bryant always says, and that coin is the vulture, the United States of America, as I like to call it, the divided states of embarrassment.
Period. So yeah, man, with that being said, many may ask, what are the solutions? The solutions are long, and they're a lot, but the main thing is we need to be working towards these solutions. That's the main thing, right? We need to start voting better, right? Our voting pattern has to change. This whole, theory of voting for the lesser of two evils, it needs to be eradicated. As Yusuf beautifully mentioned, right? Voting for the lesser of two evils, at the end of the day, is still voting for an evil, right? We need to withhold our vote. Learn how to strategically withhold our vote. And understand that by withholding our vote, we gain our power back, not lose power. See, what these politicians don't understand is that the power, what these politicians actually understand, is that the power is with the people. They know they have no power unless they're with the people. That's why every year you see them sending you letters in your mail. You see them come into your community and give out turkeys. You see them do Christmas drives, because they know without the people's votes, they can't win. So we have to strategically learn how to withhold our vote in order to get these politicians to do what we actually want them to do. Right? there's many other, solutions that are out there, but these are the ones that are like, pretty direct, and we just have to learn how to, just inquire about these things, learn them correctly, and make it a part of our system, as a community. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But also, you and Yusuf and myself, we've spent a lot of time posting about these things, posting solutions. Most of the time, people just don't really understand them yet, or they don't agree. But these are the changes that have to happen. These are, a lot of the solutions we've been aligning with, they're not even really brand new solutions. They're just solutions that, more people need to start doing, because very racist or overtly racist people, they withhold their vote all the time. They don't vote for politicians unless the politicians are going to do exactly what they want them to do. So we live in an evil system. You're not going to find a politician that's not going to align with evil. It's probably not going to happen. So if you're thinking of any of these people as good people or as friends or anything, that's foolish. And you're living, I don't know, you're living very disconnected from reality. So the point is not to find some politician that's actually going to be a good person. It's just that you're going to have to pick an evil person that you're going to have to force to do all of your demands that you say that your community needs. And if they don't get your vote, because whoever wins is going to be the same for Black Americans and the same for the Black community at large. So there is no difference. And so therefore, we have to show that we're going to be more united in not giving them what they need until they give us what we need. They're supposed to work for us. So we have said these solutions. We're going to continue saying these solutions. We've already mentioned some in previous episodes, and we'll continue going forward. But these concepts and these ideas are the most important now. Many people have already seen our content, and they pretend like they ignore it, and that's fine. We put it out knowing full well that that's what they were going to do. People are predictable. But the people that are actually interested in change and solutions, they won't need it said to them 100 times. They'll just put it that way.
Absolutely.
It beautifully said, bitch ass. Yeah, and we gotta be, as Sekou said, we gotta be strategic, and we gotta be cerebral. We gotta learn to think the long game. We can't just vote in elections and then like sit on our hands until next election. That's not how this stuff works. And we gotta do be very careful about who we put into office. And as Best has said, these people, they supposed to work for us. And as many of us have worked in jobs before, like if you don't get the job done, you get fired. That's how it should be with these politicians as well. If you don't get the job done, we pull up to your office and let you know you're fired. You know what I'm saying? And another specific thing that and here's one specific thing that I need everybody who listen to this podcast to do: go online, search up if you don't know which congressional district you live in, search it up. You can search these things on the Congress website, I believe. You can search these things, and once you find out what your congressional, who your representative is for that district, get their number, call them, harass them, right? And go on the city council website, put in your address in the search bar, and it will show you who your representative is in city council. Get their number as well, harass them, right? And specifically if you live in the X, man, if you live in the Bronx, District 15 of the Bronx, your congressman is Richie Torres. And we all have different city council districts, but if you live in District 15 of the Bronx, then your representative in Congress is Richie Torres, who is a shit liberal. We'll get to that in some other episode later. And we all know who the Bronx Road president is. Vanessa Gibson, and you could get the AG's number as well. Harass them, all of them. Like any politician who's supposed to be representing you, get their number, call them as much as you can, harass them about the things that we need in our communities, because again, they are there to give us the things that we need in our communities. They are there to help us fix our communities. That's their job. And if they not doing that, then they gotta get out. And we gotta put someone else there, someone who's gonna get the job done.
Period.
And that's all I got to say about that.
So I have a question. All the work that the community is doing for these victims, I've been seeing a lot. I see a lot of back and forth getting victims things that they need in the hotels and stuff. So is the community doing this, or are our local politicians doing this?
Damn, that's a good question. Me and Yusuf, and soon Betash, very soon, he'll come and help. Since I started, I mean, I'm not saying the city isn't doing anything, but
I mean, because I've seen a lot of like personal videos of like, I see like young Muslim girls like throwing big bags into trucks. Like, I see all of you guys, all these young men and women like communicating with each other, getting lists of things that these victims need in these hotels that are subpar. And there's all this back and forth, and all this footwork, all these resources, all this manpower. Like, is the city doing this, or is all of you guys?
It's we the people. Period. It's we the people that's doing it,
I see.
And that's a beautiful question. Me personally, as well as Yusuf, soon Betash, as I said, we've been on the ground since last Monday, putting in work in our community. There wasn't a city official that came to give us. We need garbage bags. We need tape, Sharpies. This came out from our pockets yesterday. Just yesterday. I spent $20 on garbage bags. And I'm a civilian. I didn't cause the fire, right? I'm just there to help my community. But the fact that this is not coming out of the city's pocket, this is coming out of my pocket, that says a lot. I think y'all gonna have to ponder upon that. The fact that young Muslim, and not only Muslim, young men and young women, and just the people in the community in general, because there were elders who helped as well, right? The fact that they have to carry these bags full of clothes that people are donating, that they have to name them, that they have to do all of the work that the city's actually supposed to do, I really think you guys need to ponder upon that. This is something that you must ponder upon.
All right, so with regards to the politicians and what they've been doing, since the high-rise fire happened, I've seen pictures and videos of Vanessa Gibson at Monroe, at Jerome, at the center at Jerome at Monroe College, and she brought in some air purifiers and stuff. But like, again, the things that she's doing, it's minimal. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's doing the minimum, like she's doing less than the bare minimum. The legwork, as Sekou said, is being done by the community. You know what I'm saying? The young brothers and sisters out here in the community. GYO is at the center of that. Shout out GYO. Shout out
GYO.
Shout out our brother Salim Drame. Shout out our sister, Aji Fanta Marina, and all the brothers.
Jairo, all of y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Buba Kamara, Sheikh Tunkara, like, shout out all the brothers, and all the brothers that helped out at Salafi, Sil Silla, Aisha Kaba, like, shout out all the brothers and sisters that's been doing the work, man. Like, for the most part, it's the young brothers and sisters in the community that's doing everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, organizing all these supplies that these victims need, like, such as, like, that people have been bringing a lot of donations, such as, like, clothes and toiletries and canned goods and all these stuff. Like, it's the young brothers and sisters that are organizing these things and taking them to where they need to go. And like, I mentioned this on my story a couple of days ago, on my Instagram story a couple of days ago. Well, I thank everybody for donating, like, to these families. Like, in the community, we raised more than $1 million. But like, as I said before, we should never had to raise that much money for these victims, And like, it's great that we came together to do this for them. but we should never have had to do that. Part of the reason, like, I want to say the main reason why we did that is because we had to do that for these victims. If we did not do it, they would not have gotten that help that they needed.
Yep.
You know,
At all.
we put these government officials in office for a reason, and it's because of, like, you know, events like these when the people need help, that they're there. They're supposed to be able to give these people the resources. They're not giving them the resources. You know what I'm saying? They're doing the bare minimum. Eric Adams is like, he moved past it already. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bedsides, I think, you know, we was both watching his live today. He was talking about technology, like some cyber, like, yo, we still dealing with the victims of the high rise fire, and then another fire
That killed an old woman.
just happened. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday.
On Fox Street and Interville.
Yep.
Like, these are just happening. He wants to talk about technology.
Yeah.
Like, it don't make no sense.
It doesn't. So, you know, Betash, I'll let you have, you know, the last word. We'll close out from there, but go ahead.
I mean, you guys said it. So, I mean, of course, it's great. Everyone should always come out and help victims of tragedies. But again, you're not wrong. You guys, especially all of you guys that are younger than me, you're not wrong for thinking that the city is responsible. They should be helping. They should be doing all of the legwork, all of the hard work. You guys should not be putting your money and your community's money into this when it's the city's responsibility. And as we can see, we vote these people into office, and what happens? We end up doing all the dirty work and all the hard work and all the things and coming out of our pockets with money we already don't have, so that they can just come, make speeches, and bounce. It's going to be more of the same.
That being said, that was powerful, Betaz Yusuf. That was powerful as well. We thank you guys for tuning in. This is much appreciated. You know, we're gonna continue talking about these things. You know, this is gonna be an ongoing thing because obviously our politicians are failing us. They aren't doing what they're supposed to do, as everyone mentioned, and we're gonna hold them accountable for sure. So we thank you guys for tuning in to our third episode. Much appreciated. Peace.
Stay tuned.